Sporting Journal Radio, presented by Onyx.
Well, the unofficial kickoff to the ice season is finally here. I know a lot of people wait for those early ice fishing reports, but a lot of people also just wait for that St. Paul Ice Show because that is a chance for them to go hang out with their buddies, talk about ice fishing, get some new gear, and just kind of gear up for the season and get ready for it. That's going on this weekend down in St. Paul, and Joe Henry from Lake of the Woods Tourism is down there right now, and he's going to join us here on the show. Joe, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Excited to go to the show.
Absolutely. It's kind of that start of the season, right? Like it once this takes place, then a lot of people really start to get into ice fishing mode.
I agree with you. And, this really is, there's been other ice shows around. This is the granddaddy of them all. My understanding is this is the largest ice fishing show in North America. And it's really kind of neat because, every year you meet people from Maine and New York State and, Nebraska. And people from not only just the Midwest and the typical ice belt, but way over on the East Coast as well. And you get people coming here saying, man, I've always heard about it. I just always thought it'd be so cool to go to a huge ice fishing show, which we don't have out there. So it's a fun deal, very festive. The who's who in ice fishing is going to be there. All the ice fishing companies, different ice fishing destinations, certainly a lot of excitement. It is kind of a kickoff. I agree with you.
It makes sense that it's the largest. We're in Minnesota and we're pretty far north where things freeze up. So where else is there going to be a show like this other than in Minnesota? So when you've been doing this show for a long time, Joe, obviously people can come up and talk to you about Lake of the Woods, learn a little bit more about it. What kind of questions do you get from people that come up to you at your booth?
How's that Brett Amundsen doing? Is he a pretty good guy?
Yeah.
No, I'll tell you, a lot of the questions would be like, so what's the bike going to be like early ice? Do you guys have ice yet?
I bet that's a big one.
It is a big one, right?
Like?
Right now.
Yeah.
What
is the ice like, Joe?
Never been up there before. Where should we stay? Of course, that's kind of a loaded question. I represent the whole area. And really, what I come back with there is, let me ask you a few questions. What kind of group are you coming up with? When do you think about coming up? We have different areas you can fish. We have the South Shore, different areas across the South Shore. And of course, we have up at the Northwest Angle. And, just by asking a few questions, I can help them narrow it down to usually 3 to 5 places that might be good starting points. It gets overwhelming. We have about 61 different lodging facilities up at Lake of the Woods. If you consider, sleeper fish house businesses, Airbnb, VRBOs, hotels, small resorts, big resorts. We got a little bit of everything up at Lake of the Woods, and it makes it really neat. But if you don't know the area and you don't know kind of the lay of the land, it's also a little bit overwhelming.
Yeah, I think I was surprised to learn just how many, especially along the Rainy River there, just how many guide services, resorts, restaurants, and bars, like how many of those places had all of those things under one roof?
I tell you, one of the great things, and, maybe I've said this before, but, I'll tell you, I just think it's so neat. Really, a cool thing about Lake of the Woods is that if you don't ice fish and you don't know much about it, you don't have the equipment, maybe you're coming up with a group of girls, maybe you're coming up with a group of guys that don't ice fish, maybe it's a family trip with kids, whatever. Our resorts over the years have adapted and they have figured out how to take the work out of it and keep things super safe, super warm, and super comfortable so that anybody can come up and enjoy ice fishing. Imagine this. Imagine you go to a nice resort, wake up in the morning, have a great breakfast, and they got some just incredible breakfasts up there. They're so good. And then, at around 7:30 or 8 o'clock in the morning, you go out and board your ice transportation, or you take your own vehicle on their ice road and you have directions on how far out to go and where your fish house is. So you get out to your fish house in heated comfort. The fish house, the heater's on, it's on the fish. They really move the fish houses around a lot to keep them on the walleyes and saugers. You get into your fish house, the holes are drilled. It's like 70, 75 degrees. It's like a living room. First thing you do is you take your jacket off, you get in, you get all situated, you start fishing, bring a good lunch with you, maybe some beverages. The ice guides will check on you throughout the day to make sure you're doing okay. And then in the afternoon, if you're getting the ice transportation route, they'll pick up you and your bucket of fish and and bring you in for happy hour. If you're driving in, you can drive in whenever you want, and the guys will certainly clean your fish. And then if you want to, I mean, you can either cook your own fish, you can freeze them and take them home with you, or if you want, a lot of the resorts up there will cook your fresh catch. And I'll tell you, when they cook them up, man, it's really neat because every resort has their own special batter that they've perfected over the years. Some of them will cook those walleyes and saugers like a different way. They might offer you the traditional fried fish. Then they might offer you the blackened, or they might be broiled. Just a lot of ways to do it. It's just kind of a neat atmosphere up there. It's also very exciting. People are up there from all over the place, and it's just it's a fun atmosphere. But they take the work out of it so that if you don't ice fish much, you can go up there and have just an incredible time. Man, Brett, I'll never forget the time I did a video up there, and I walked around to a few different fish houses from the same resort, and it was really cool because the first fish house had a couple, and the couple was in there just, husband and wife fishing together, and they had I remember they had Gander Mountain chairs, special Gander Mountain chairs that they brought. They're comfortable, they're big, and they had a little ledge on them, like a little shelf. And on those shelf, they each had about their 5 favorite lures that they were rotating to catch walleyes and sauger with. They had a little radio playing and stuff. Well, then I go to the next fish house, and it was a group of guys from the Iron Range, and they were characters. The beer was flowing, and the leader of the pack had orange suspenders on, and oh boy, their BS was flying there. And then you go to the next fish house, and it's a family. It's a husband and a wife with 3 kids, and they're picking away at the fish. So every fish house has its own little ambiance, but that's what's so cool about ice fishing.
And what else is kind of cool up there is if you are just up there for a getaway or a trip and you're going through one of the guided services, you can just bar hop just by walking up and down it's like a college town where you can just walk up and down the road. Not that it's a college type party, but you can bar hop and go try out the different bars you can just walk to all of them along that strip right there. It
is pretty cool. And, it's also kind of neat too, just to see the different feeling or different culture that each resort bar has and each restaurant has. Different menus, different food options. A lot of those bars are looking at overlooking the Rainy River, so you're looking across at Canada. Some of them are looking across 4 Mile Bay. Some are looking out at the huge lake. You got some on bay. I mean, it's so much variety.
Yeah, and up at the angle, it's pretty neat there when you're out on the islands too, and you can kind of look out over it's a completely different landscape when you're up there. It's pretty neat. And Joe, at the time of this recording, the latest report I saw you share on Facebook was, I think it was from Sporties, wasn't it? They were talking about a little bit of ice on 4 Mile, but not a ton yet.
Yeah, yep. So things are forming up really nicely. So the back bays, there's 5 to 8 inches where people are traveling. I thought it was really interesting, Brett. One of the resorts posted, we got 5 to 8 inches on our trail, but one area that we know is kind of a problem area because of springs, we checked it and there's 1 inch. Yeah. So you really need to stay in those trails, but they are starting to mark trails across 4 Mile Bay, personal resort trails, not for public use yet, because there are areas that aren't ready. But yes, they are marking them, and things are shaping up nicely. Things are shaping up nicely with Big Traverse Bay, the big open waters of Lake of the Woods. That's ice covered, and they're starting to check that as well. And just let the ice guides do their thing. When it's time, they'll certainly let you know. Stay in the marked trails, and life will be good. But man, I'll tell you this: we got a great start. We got cold weather in the forecast. We have very little snow. Things are looking up for the ice fishing season up at Lake of the Woods.
Well, they can obviously follow you on Facebook at Lake of the Woods Tourism, but where else should they go, Joe, if they want to find out more information?
Yeah, for all those resorts that we talked about, I would encourage people to explore. We have every resort, hotel, Airbnb, sleeper fish house businesses on our website. And our website is lakeofthewoodsmn.com.
Or go see them at the St. Paul Ice Show. Joe, thank you very much.
Hear more at sportingjournalradio.com or wherever you get podcasts.